Dee 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 dee. And if you get that name, that tune, you'll know what my wife had to sell in order for us to have our second child. All right, this chapter is going to be a lot less mathematical, and that's on purpose. You deserve a break. We're not going to do math. We're going to do a lot of definitions, and these are important definitions. Of all of them, the most important is probably experiment versus an observational study. What's the difference? In an experiment, the researcher or the statistician or the people doing the survey, you get to pick what treatment the people get. Now, for an observational study, people get to pick their own treatment. So which one is better? Well, let me give you a scenario. Let's talk about those magnetic bracelets, right? You're supposed to put them on your arm and it makes you run better or faster. My wife thinks there's something to them. They help your chakra or karma or I don't know. But let's say that we want to examine, do those bracelets really work? So an experiment would say we get 100 people and we divide them up and we say, you guys run with the bracelet, you guys run without the bracelet. That's an experiment. Observational study, we would say, everybody go race, and we would mark, hey, those are the people that are wearing the magnetic bracelet. And then we could compare them. Well, here's the problem. What type of person wears a magnetic bracelet? I don't know. Could it be people who are insecure about their running, and so they're purchasing things that they hope will help? Could it be people who are professional runners, and so they have all the latest gadgets and newfangleds, right? If it's something like that, then you might be biasing your data and getting bad results. Over here, with the experiment, you know that both those groups are going to have people who believe in it and people who don't, and so you can tell the effect better, all right? The biggest issue of this is that thanks to an experiment, we can show causation. For an observational study, you cannot show causation. You can only show that there is a correlation or a relationship. So with our example of the magnetic bracelets, let's say that the people in our observational study who had magnetic bracelets ran faster, because my wife might watch this video and I don't want her to think that I'm trying to make fun of chakra or feng shui or all the other things. So, okay, let's say the people with the bracelet ran faster. Does that mean the bracelet's what's making them run faster? Well, not necessarily. It could be the professional runners have all the newest, latest, newfangled things, and they have magnetic bracelet and power aid, and they practice and whatever else. And it turns out if you made them take off their bracelet, they would have run just as fast. But because they're professional runners, that's what's causing them to run better. And so you can say there's a relationship. People who are wearing the bracelet tend to be running faster. Is it because the bracelet's doing it? Well, you can't necessarily say that. And we haven't even talked about a word called placebo yet. Now, over here with experiment, if you forced these 50 people to wear the bracelet and those 50 people to not wear the bracelet, and the group with the bracelet runs faster, well, now that is meaningful. These aren't necessarily professional runners. Both the groups are going to have professional and non-professional runners because you've randomly split them up. These aren't just the group who believe in it, because some of these will believe and some of them won't. That's true in both groups. So for an experiment, if the group wearing the bracelet runs faster, we can say it's the bracelet that's causing them to run faster. Otherwise, you can't necessarily say that. So experiment is better. That's what you wish you could do all the time. Why don't we always do an experiment? And the answer is sometimes it's unethical. Let's pick religion. Imagine taking a whole bunch of people and splitting them and saying, you now have to be Christian and you now have to be Muslim. Yeah, people don't respond well to that. I happen to be Mormon. You can't tell me to change my religion. It's something people get to pick for themselves. It's unethical otherwise. Here's a really famous one I want you to think about: smoking. We all know smoking causes, well, wait. Did you just say causes? Was there an experiment done? In order to do an experiment, you would have to have a whole bunch of people, and you would tell these people, we need you to smoke every day for the next 30 years. And this group of people, you're not allowed to smoke ever. And then after 30 years, you could compare them. That would be a very compelling study. Also very unethical and really, really tough to try to pull off. Okay? So, no, they haven't done experiments on people to show smoking causes cancer. So why is that a phrase that people say, smoking causes cancer? Is it observational? You can imagine what the tobacco company is saying. Well, there's a correlation. People who are smoking are also people who are getting cancer, but maybe it's because when you're developing cancer, that smoke from the cigarette is very soothing and helpful. It's actually the cancer that's causing you to want to smoke. Well, whether you laugh at that or not, the question is, can you say that's not true? If you're looking at observational studies, you can't say that. And people who have a smoking lifestyle also have other differences in their lifestyle. Could it be that there's a correlation there and it's not the smoking that's giving you cancer, it's something else? So what did people do? They did an experiment with rats. And the rats who smoked did develop cancer. Well, okay, that means that smoking causes cancer in rats. Does that mean smoking causes cancer in humans? And the answer is no. And that's why there's a big debate and has been for so many decades. But an experiment would be unethical. So, in this chapter, we're going to talk about a lot of terms specific to experiments or to observational studies. Sometimes observational studies really are only option. An experiment can give you better declarations, and there's some vocabulary terms that apply to both.